It's your girl, Veronica, and I have heard you guys in my comments asking, please, can you give us some PMP application tips? Yes, I absolutely can. I understand that studying for the certification is really intimidating, but getting through that application and actually getting it approved is pretty scary in and of itself. So if you've been looking for tips to help you be successful on your PMP exam application, then you have come to the right place, because I'm going to give you guys some tips and tricks that a lot of people don't talk about to make sure that you can be successful the first time around. So stick around and let's go ahead and get started. Okay, first things first, you guys already know what it is. Let's level set, okay? The PMP application is something that should be taken seriously. A lot of the time, I'll get feedback from people where they say, oh, I'm not actually that worried about the application. I'm just gonna jot down what I do at work. I've got all this work experience, and then I should be good to go. No, you will not be good to go. I can tell you that much right now, okay? Your PMP application gets reviewed by an actual person at PMI. Okay, so there are certain things that you need to do to make sure that you are prepared. Number one, obviously, you need to make sure that you actually meet the qualifications, right? High school diploma or a college degree. When we say college degree, it's got to be at least a bachelor's for PMI to count it. You also have to have your 35 hours of project management education, which you get through a course. This is a plug for ANU Consulting because we offer those courses. Okay, pmpmastermind.com. Anyways, and then last but not least is you actually have to have some project experience, okay? If you have your high school diploma, it should be 60 months, not 60 hours, 60 months. That's 5 years, okay? If you have at least a bachelor's degree, it needs to be 36 months of experience, and you're gonna have to describe that. So first things first, please make sure you actually meet the qualifications before you just go out willy-nilly throwing applications out there, okay? You need to take it seriously. That's point number one. Point number two is this. Where I see people fail the most is in their project descriptions. When you actually go through and do your PMP application, they're going to ask you some standard questions, such as, what is the title of the project? What was your budget? What was the methodology that you used? How many people were on your team? What functional area were you under? Was it the PMO, or was it HR, or was it customer service? What sector were you in? Education, finance, marketing? You need to be able to answer these questions, okay? For those of you who have military background or who were under NDAs while you were at work, don't worry, because you can actually say that your budget and the amount of people that were on your team is classified information, okay? That option is available to you because PMI understands that a lot of the time as project managers, there are things that we cannot discuss about the work that we do. Now, when it comes to what the title of your project was, this is something that I see people stress about a lot for absolutely no reason, okay? If you've actually led projects in the past, then you know that your sponsors rarely ever say, the title of this project is this, right? They tell you, hey, this is the work, this is the initiative, here's the money, go get to it. There's not always a designated name. That's okay. Give that project a title, okay? PMI is not going to go back and say, well, your sponsor said that it was called this, but you called it this. It's not a big deal. This isn't where we want to spend our effort and our energy. So just go ahead, make up a title, and then keep it moving. Now, after you have answered these questions, PMI gives you a free form text box. And what they want you to do is describe the actual project that you led or were a part of, okay? This is the most important part, okay? If you haven't listened to anything else I've said in the video so far, you need to listen to this, because PMI, if they choose to audit you, 9 times out of 10, It's based on what you said in your project descriptions. Okay. You cannot just write 3 or 4 sentences and be like, oh, okay, here we are. We're good to go. You're not good to go. You're about to be audited. That's what you're about to be. Okay. On average, a typical response for a project description is going to be somewhere between 250 and 500 words. You need to be getting as close as you can to that 500 word limit. Okay. And it's actually not a limit. You can go further than 500 words, but your goal should be to get to at least 500 words or as close as you can to it. Okay. And again, when you're describing your projects, it shouldn't be something operational. It shouldn't be, I was an operations manager, so I oversaw operations. And every single day I came in and I checked the dashboard to see if the team was operating. Like, come on, okay? You gotta take it serious. You need to describe your project from a project manager's perspective. You need to make it very clear that there was a start date, very clear that there was an end date. You need to say what the purpose of the project was. And the way in which you say it is also really important, because if you're at this point, that means you've been studying, you've been learning, you've been building a solid foundation, or maybe you've even been doing it for years. You should know by now that project management is its own language. And what PMI wants to know is, does this person actually speak the language or not? So for example, if I were to say that I was an operations manager and I oversaw this project to improve our KPIs, is that really what a project manager would say? Or would they say the scope of our initiative was this? The verbiage that you use is very important, okay? You're not going to say that your boss signed off on the project and then you got started. You're going to say that you got a signed charter from your sponsor and then you held a kickoff meeting, because that's what an actual project manager would do and would say. Don't make the mistake of thinking that just because you've done some project-oriented work that you can just call it whatever and it's going to be all good, okay? You need to actually be articulate and concise about the initiative that you oversaw, and you need to describe it from that project manager's perspective. Now, another tip, talk about what actually happened. Okay, the same mistake that I see people making on their resume is the same mistake that I see people making on their application, which is that they say, I'm a project manager who project managed, and what I did was manage projects. Yeah, we know it's implied in the title. That doesn't tell us what you actually did. You're just out here saying you're a project manager that project manages. Come on now, you got to tighten up. It needs to say, hey, this was the scope of work. This was the amount of people that were on my team. These were the sponsors and the stakeholders that I dealt with, and this is how we executed. Give them details, give them the meat. You want the person who's actually reading this and reviewing it to automatically be able to tell kind of what happened in your experience and what the project was like and whether or not it was successful. Okay, that is important. Another mistake that I see people making is that they acted like it was all good. Come on now. You're trying to tell me that you've got 60 months of project experience and none of your projects have ever had an issue? That's how I know you're lying. Every single project that you run has some form of issue. It may not be a big issue, it may not be several issues, but there's always going to be risk. And there's always going to be issues that you face and that you have to work around. Talk about those things. You want to say, we ran into this issue. This is how we worked around it. We had a brainstorming session with our stakeholders. Our team had to compress our schedule. We had to crash our timeline by adding more resources, whatever it was. You want to make sure that you're describing what the challenge was and how you overcame that obstacle or that impediment. Okay, give them the necessary information. You want to say what your acceptance criteria were and whether or not you actually successfully closed out your project. And what we mean by that is not all projects end in success. Some of them go down in a ball of flames. I mean, it's not unheard of, right? These projects out here aren't always easy. There's a big difference between having a project to make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich and having a project to build a spaceship that takes rich people back and forth to Mars on vacation, right? So you have to think about that. Give them the detail, describe it from a project manager's point of view. And if your project failed, just say that. It's not that your project isn't going to count if it wasn't a success. That work still counts towards your qualification and experience. So don't feel pressured to lie, especially because you may come up against an audit and you don't want a reference to come back and say, I don't know what she's talking about. This project wasn't successful. It was a complete and utter failure. You know what that tells PMI? That you lie. And that you lie for no reason. Okay? It's not necessary. Be truthful. Be honest. If your project failed, say why it failed. Talk about the lessons that you learned. Talk about how you would have changed things when you went forward and tried to do it again. If your project was successful, that's great. Talk about whether you met expectations or you succeeded expectations. For instance, if your role was to improve productivity and efficiency by 25% and you actually ended up improving it by 30%, call that out. Brag a little bit. Talk about that success. If you missed that mark by 2 or 3%, you can call that out too and say, hey, we were within the tolerance threshold to still have the project be considered successful. Okay, you want to give as much detail as possible and you want to be honest about what actually happened. This isn't a time for you to lie. There's no need for you to embellish. Give it to them straight and make sure that you're describing that work from a project manager's perspective. Okay. Last but not least, if you take a course with somebody, like in you consulting, for instance, at www.pmpmastermind.com, that course provider should include free application assistance. If they don't include free application assistance for your PMP certification exam, that's a problem, okay? Because everybody understands the importance of getting through the application successfully. If you have the opportunity to have somebody actually review and edit your application, take advantage of that. Okay, you want somebody who's actually been through the process or has gotten several clients through the process successfully to help you be successful, tell you what to include, tell you what to take out, make sure that you're ready to go. Okay, take advantage. The last thing I'll leave you guys with is this, and it's a little topic we like to call artificial intelligence. Okay, I know a lot of you guys think to yourself, I'm about to have ChatGPT write my application. I can't even tell you how many people have come back to me and said, I'm just going to be honest, Veronica, I had ChatGPT write this. I'm not mad at it. I get it. That's the day and age that we live in. The only thing that I am mad at is that when I read through it, it's still trash. Okay? If you want to leverage artificial intelligence to help you build out a framework, then you can do that. But you can't depend on AI to write the application for you. It's not that advanced yet. The other thing is that word on the street is that PMI may be putting people's applications through an AI detector. Oh, yeah. What? You didn't think they were that advanced? Come on now, they're a global institution. So if you are going to have AI write your application, you need to go in and edit it, and then you need to put it through an AI detector to make sure that no AI can be detected. What? They have those? Yeah, they're for free on the internet for free 99. Go and Google it. Okay. If AI is detected, you know what you can do? You go and you Google a paraphraser, and now you run it through a paraphrasing tool, and then you run it back through your AI detector until it says no AI detected. Oh my gosh, they can do that? Yes. They can do that. Google it. Okay? I'm trying to help y'all out, but sometimes y'all are really killing me out here. I hope this information was helpful. Okay? Be concise, be articulate, be honest. Don't lean on ChatGPT to do everything for you. And if you have the opportunity to have somebody review your application through the course that you took, leverage that. If you don't have that opportunity and you want somebody to review your application and edit it with you, that is a service that we offer. Okay, you can contact us for a free consultation or visit www.pmpmastermind.com. Now, we have just hit 1,000 subscribers. Yay! We're very excited about it, but our goal is to get to 2,000 subs next. So if you're looking at this video and you haven't subscribed, help us out, support our channel by hitting that subscribe button. If you have questions or comments about the application process, please drop them in the comment section. I'm very active there and I always get back to you guys as quickly as I can. Don't forget to share this video with somebody that you know will benefit from this information. And also drop us a like. You know we appreciate it. In the meantime, in between time, I'll see you guys next time. Have a good one.